All right, YouTube, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on this IKEA furniture. We have the Kullen. Let's go ahead and get started, get this thing built. First thing you'll notice, we have two boxes. One's going to be the outer part. The other part is going to be the drawers. So if you don't have two boxes, you're missing a box. Go back and find that box. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm start unboxing this stuff, see what we have. I want to start with the base. So the first thing I'm going to do is start getting everything out of the box. And make sure everything looks good. Get everything kind of organized and sorted. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and open my bag of bolts and everything here, and I'm going to start organizing those. I'm just going to dump it right on the floor and sort them out. Went ahead and adjust the camera angle so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Basically, I'm just grabbing all of the parts, sorting them out. So we've got all of our small parts assorted here. Okay, so the first problem I'm noticing here is that we only have one of these pieces in that first box, so that means we're going to have to open the other box because we need two of those to do the very first step. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox the second box. It's almost down to the bottom layer of the box there, but we've got it. So I am going to arrange these per the instructions because I just did another dresser and you have to have this stuff laid out just the way they have it laid out in the picture for it to make any sort of sense when you're assembling it. What that means is I've got these two larger holes here facing towards the camera for orientation purposes. For me, that's going to be on the right side. That's how they have it in the picture as well. Actually, they have this kind of facing towards you, but I'm able to read the instruction looking at it this way just fine. So that's how I'm going to orient it for this video. What we're going to need right off the bat is 10 of these bad boys, which I think is all of them. I think there were only 10. We're going to start placing those in these holes here. And we have an extra baby. Next, we're going to use these screws. The little self-threading screws there. And what we're going to do is we're going to push these down into the pre-drilled holes. A little rubber mallet might not be a bad idea here to kind of just pop those into position. Then I'm going to drive these screws in. Now be sure not to over tighten these because they will have a tendency to strip out if you over tighten them. See how many of these screws I have to put in? You can definitely understand why I like to use a power tool. Actually, I do not quite have this orientated the same way in the photo. I say that because what it's saying right now is that you want to put 3 of these posts on the outer edge, and you'll be able to tell which ones you put them in because the hole will be smaller, and then 1 on the center edge here. So 3 along the outer edge, 3 along the outer edge, which would be the back piece, the unfinished piece, and then 1 in the front, which is the finished part. So go ahead and drive those bad boys in. So the next part you're going to assemble, you're going to take these 4 pieces here and the wider piece. You're going to put dowels on the end. You see they have pre-drilled holes. You're going to put a dowel on each one of those holes on these pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a handful of dowels because I'm going to need a lot of them, and stick 1 in each one of these. I'm not going to worry about pressing them all the way in at this point. Just going to get them started in the hole. This one only accepts 1 dowel, but you can tell which hole it goes in. There's another hole here, but that's a smaller hole. The dowel will not fit in it. So you will not be putting a dowel in that smaller hole. So you've got dowels in each one of those pieces. You're going to place them along the front edge. And you can tell where you're going to place them because each one of them has the double hole there. Then for the final piece on the bottom, there are 2 holes here, but the dowel only fits in 1, so there's really only 1 place to put it. And that's with the dowel facing downward. So now what you're going to do is take all these pieces and put dowels in them. The 2 outer holes is where you're going to place the dowels. And then you're going to take one of your larger fasteners here, and you'll notice there's an arrow pointing by the cross in the fastener. That arrow you want to be pointing towards the closest surface. The fastener facing towards the unfinished surface. You're going to place that. Oh, I put the dowel in the wrong spot. Sorry. You want to put them in the outer holes like that. Because you don't want to put the dowel in the hole where the fastener needs to go in. And you'll be able to tell because the post is going to go in where that fastener was. So again, just to recap. Dowel in the outer holes. Fastener in this hole, with the arrow pointing towards the closest surface, and then you're going to set that in place right next to the other one. Getting your dowels into position and lining those fasteners up on the peg. Arrow pointing towards the closest surface. So now, there's one last piece that you have to get into position. That's going to be this one here. And same story, you're going to put a dowel here, and then put the other fastener there. So, dowel in the hole. Oh, I'm doing it wrong. Dowel in the hole. There's not a hole for a fastener. Arrow pointing towards the closest surface. And then place that right here. I moved my camera angle so you guys can see it a little better. So now what I'm going to do is go around and tighten all of my fasteners which are down on this side next to this face. So this is pretty straightforward. We just grab a screwdriver here and you're going to turn counterclockwise until you feel it tightened up nice and snug. Not too tight, but just until it snugs up. Now if you don't have any dowels on this side, you want to make sure you get your dowels in place. Now we're ready to flip this over and place it. Make sure all of your dowels are lining up with all of your holes. There's a lot of them going on here, so it's kind of a lot to watch and look at. Once you've got everything pushed down into place, go ahead and come around with your screwdriver, turn your fasteners clockwise until they tighten everything up. You got the 3 on this side and the 1 on this side. So now, on this surface, there will be a hole, and you're going to take these black screws here that have the Allen heads on them, and you're going to thread them right down into that hole. Get that snug. Do not over tighten it, as you may split the wood or strip it out. Flip that over. Do the same thing on the other side. So the bottom side is going to be where we just installed those screws, and you're going to install your skid plates to the bottom. Just go ahead and pop those right in. Now I'm going to go ahead and stand this thing up. I'm going to prepare my top piece to go on, and the way I'm going to do that is there are 4 smaller holes, 2 along each edge. They are going to be the innermost holes, and I'm going to place a post in each one and a dowel in the other hole. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my last 4 of these larger fasteners. Again, I'm going to point the arrow towards the closest surface. In this circumstance, one more time, it will be facing upward. And I'm getting this base ready to accept the top is what I'm doing at this point, because the part that I just put the dowels and everything in is the top. And you're going to just line everything up, put this in place, go ahead and tap everything into position, and then tighten your fasteners again clockwise until they're snug. So now our base is built. I'm going to move this out of the way and begin building some drawers to go in it. Okay, so there are 2 different size drawers to go in this dresser. I'm going to start with the bottom one. There are actually 3 bottom drawers. They're going to be taller than the top 2 drawers. The top 2 drawers are going to be more narrow. So as you've got your parts laid out, you want to grab the parts for the taller piece. So you're going to need a drawer face, 2 drawer sides, a drawer back, a drawer bottom. Once you've got the drawer face laid down, you're going to put 2 of the posts in here, right in the middle holes. You're going to put 4 dowels in it, the upper and lower hole, 1 in each. You are going to get a fastener. Again, you're going to place the arrow towards the closest surface. You're going to press that into position and stick that on your drawer face. Turn your fastener clockwise until it snugs down. Same thing here. Place the fastener in, arrow towards the closest surface, and make sure you're matching up your tracks here. That's how you know which side goes on what and everything. Not only that, but this channel here is for those white guides that you see. So it's going to kind of slide down those white guides. Those are kind of like the drawer tracks for this. So now what we're going to do is take a drawer back. There's a painted side and a non-painted side. The painted side is going to go facing up. Slide that in there. Then we're going to put our drawer back into position. Make sure that pops all the way down in. And then we're going to use these little white kind of, they're almost like plastic nails, if you will. I'm going to take a couple of those and slide those in. Rubber mallet would be great here. I don't have one of those. I'm out of town. So I'm just going to take a improvised hammer and tap that into place. The same thing on the other side. Flip this over. You've got these businesses kind of slide right up in here. Thread those in. Push that into position. Just going to kind of tighten everything up, hold it together. And then the last step to insert your drawer, you're going to have these two little plastic plugs here. Grab a flat bladed screwdriver. And you're going to place your drawer, and that's a little groove on the side of the drawer is going to go over this plastic piece. You may be able to see it a little bit right here, maybe not. But what you want to do now is you've got these little holes down in the drawer itself, and you want to thread these little plastic things in there after you've slid this past the opening of this. And what that's going to do is prevent the drawer from being pulled out too far. So you want to push it in where you know it's past that part and start to thread these things in. And then you're going to use your flat bladed screwdriver to finish driving those all the way in. And so this is a view from inside the drawer. Maybe not the best view ever of my hand. In a weird angle. So once that is threaded all the way down, you're good to go. And as you can see, that prevents the drawer from coming all the way out. So now you're going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4 more times. The smaller drawers are a little bit different, so I will walk you through one of those as well. But otherwise, you just continue to do what we just did. So the smaller drawers are very much the same process, the biggest difference being that there are not 2 dowels, there's only 1 down on the bottom. So this hole that's right in the middle is going to get a stud. The lower hole gets a dowel. The side pieces get a fastener. You want to face that again towards the closest surface. You want to face the channel facing the other channel, so that's going to go on this side. Turn clockwise until we're snug. Same process again. Arrow towards the closest surface. Gravity back. Slide it down the channel. Painted surface in towards the drawer. The drawer back. Plastic nut. Or plastic nail. Improvised hammer. Or hopefully a real hammer in your case. Don't forget about these little clips. I almost just did. Place the groove of your drawer over the white part here. Slide it in far enough and place your drawer stops into position. Tighten those all the way down. That screwdriver's too big. And slide the drawer closed. Okay, let's see who was paying attention while I was assembling this. So when I originally put this together, I had this facing out like this, and I started putting the drawers in and realized that you could see these fasteners while the drawers were in. So that definitely was not the way to assemble that. Make sure you have these facing towards the inside of the dresser. You don't want to be able to see that while the dresser is actually put together. Obviously, that's not the way it's supposed to look. So what I did was just flip it around, and it does fit properly when it's in the right position. So I had to disassemble the cabinet a bit. I had to take the top back off of it and everything to make it look right, because I can't just leave it wrong. That's not the way I'm built. Can't do it. Everyone, if you enjoyed today's video, I would invite you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below right there on the right-hand corner. And if you felt that the products in today's video is something you might like to own yourself, there's a product link right up there to the right, upper right-hand corner, or down in the description will be a product link for you to purchase the product as well. Thank you very much for watching YouTube.